is ulcer? Causes, symptoms, diagnosis, and treatment you need to know. What if the very food sitting in your kitchen could become your body's natural medicine? Imagine discovering that what you eat every day has the power to heal, to calm pain, and to strengthen your health, especially as you grow older. Many seniors don't realize that small, simple changes at the table can protect the stomach, improve digestion, and even bring back the joy of eating without discomfort. That's why this video is so important. Stay with us until the end, because we're about to uncover foods that can truly help you heal yourself. But first, let us know in the comments, where are you watching this from? Mint. It often surprises people to learn that something as refreshing as mint can quietly cause discomfort deep in the stomach. For decades, peppermint tea, menthol candies, and mint-flavored remedies have been seen as symbols of calm and relief. Yet science tells a different story. Studies from the American Gastroenterological Association and Harvard Medical School have shown that mint, particularly peppermint and spearmint, relaxes the lower esophageal sphincter, the small circular muscle that keeps stomach acid where it belongs. When that muscle loosens, acid moves upward, leading to the familiar burning sensation of heartburn. What feels soothing in the mouth can, paradoxically, inflame the gut. Imagine a small doorway between the stomach and the esophagus. Its job is to stay closed after a meal, like a guard keeping acid from escaping. Mint tells that guard to relax. For a younger, stronger digestive system, this may not cause noticeable harm. But in older adults, whose muscles and mucosal linings are already more delicate, that tiny relaxation can lead to repeated reflux, chronic inflammation, and over time, damage to the stomach's protective barrier. The result is discomfort that creeps in after dinner, during rest, or even while sleeping. A retired librarian from Oregon, 70 years old, had developed persistent heartburn after every evening cup of peppermint tea. She believed it was helping her digestion. When she stopped and switched to chamomile, the pain disappeared within 2 weeks. Her experience mirrors what research has confirmed. What feels natural is not always gentle for the aging stomach. Mint's effect on digestion is a reminder of how complex the body truly is. It is not the enemy. It simply changes the conversation inside the gut. For those with reflux, ulcers, or chronic gastritis, the first step is awareness. Avoiding mint may seem like a small act, but small acts accumulate into big protection. Replacing peppermint tea with chamomile or ginger tea not only soothes the stomach, but also calms the nervous system, creating a ripple of healing that touches both body and mind. Modern science continues to explore the deep connection between the digestive system and mental well-being. The gut is sometimes called the second brain because it reflects how stress, food, and emotion intertwine. When acid rises, it is not only chemistry at work, it is the body's way of saying, slow down, choose gently. For anyone experiencing recurrent heartburn or stomach pain, it is important to consult a physician before making changes. Each stomach tells a different story, and professional guidance ensures that the path to healing is safe and effective. Healing begins with listening. Paying attention to what brings comfort and what brings pain is an act of respect toward the body. Protecting the stomach is not about restriction, but about wisdom, the quiet strength to care before it hurts. Number 9, spicy foods. Few sensations feel as alive as the first bite of spicy food, the tingle on the tongue, the warmth spreading through the chest, the quick rush of endorphins. For many Americans, that heat is a comfort, a memory of backyard barbecues or a lively Mexican dinner shared with friends. Yet beneath that pleasure lies a quiet warning from the body. When spice meets the stomach, the story changes. Capsaicin, the active compound that gives chili peppers their fire, triggers pain receptors not only on the tongue but along the entire digestive tract. Research from the National Institutes of Health shows that frequent exposure to high levels of capsaicin can inflame the gastric lining, delay stomach emptying, and increase acid secretion. In older adults, whose stomach walls are thinner and more fragile, the burning that begins in the mouth can end in a deep ache below the ribs. Over time, this irritation can lead to gastritis or worsen existing ulcers. There is also a psychological side to this heat. The body interprets spicy food as a mild form of stress. Heart rate rises, breathing quickens, Sweat appears on the forehead. For a young, resilient system, that short stress is manageable. But for an aging digestive tract already coping with medication, slower metabolism, or mild dehydration, the excitement of spice becomes too much of a challenge. The result is not exhilaration, but exhaustion, a quiet fatigue in the stomach that lingers long after the meal is ended. In a study conducted at the Mayo Clinic, participants over 60 who consume very spicy meals more than 3 times a week were twice as likely to report acid reflux and nocturnal indigestion compared to those who enjoyed milder food. The link was not only chemical but behavioral. Those who ate quickly and late at night suffered the most. The data reinforce a simple truth. The way food is eaten matters as much as what food is chosen. There is, however, no need to banish flavor. Culinary traditions around the world have long used gentler seasonings that comfort rather than challenge the stomach. Fresh herbs such as parsley, thyme, and rosemary add aroma without acid. A touch of turmeric supports digestion and reduces inflammation. Even a small squeeze of lime can awaken the palate more gracefully than a spoonful of chili. Flavor, after all, is not measured by heat, but by harmony. A man once told a story about his favorite chili cook-off. After years of stomach discomfort, he decided to replace half the chili peppers in his recipe with sweet bell peppers. To his surprise, the judges still loved it, and his stomach stayed calm. His smile that day held more than pride. It held relief. Such stories remind that healing the stomach is not about giving up joy. It is about rediscovering it through balance. If the stomach burns frequently, feels bloated, or aches after spicy meals, it may be time to consult a doctor. Sometimes the body is not asking for less taste, but for a gentler rhythm. True strength lies not in tolerating pain, but in understanding it. The warmth of food should come from nourishment, not from fire. And peace in the gut begins with choosing comfort over intensity. Number 8, coffee. Every morning across America, the same familiar ritual unfolds: the sound of a coffee maker, the comforting aroma drifting through the kitchen, the promise of alertness in a single cup. Coffee is more than a drink. It is a companion through quiet mornings and long workdays. Yet for the aging stomach, this beloved ritual can quietly become a source of discomfort. Scientific studies from Johns Hopkins Medicine and the American Journal of Gastroenterology reveal that coffee increases the production of hydrochloric acid in the stomach, even when consumed black and without food. Caffeine also relaxes the lower esophageal sphincter, the small muscle that acts as a gate between the stomach and the esophagus. When this gate loosens, acid moves upward, creating the burning sensation known as reflux. For individuals already managing ulcers, gastritis, or sensitivity to acid, this combination becomes a daily strain. The chemistry of coffee is complex. Beyond caffeine, it contains catechols and other compounds that stimulate acid secretion. Even decaffeinated coffee can trigger symptoms, as the roasting process itself releases substances that excite the stomach's acid-producing cells. Over time, this can erode the mucosal barrier, the stomach's natural shield, leaving the lining exposed and vulnerable. Consider the story of a retired engineer from Seattle who cherished his morning brew. For 40 years, he began each day with 3 strong cups. After retirement, he noticed frequent heartburn and nausea that seemed to appear out of nowhere. Tests revealed a mild ulcer. When he reduced his intake to a single small cup and alternated with herbal tea, the symptoms faded. His experience echoes what gastroenterologists see daily. The stomach's tolerance changes with age, and gentle adjustments bring profound relief. Coffee's effect is not purely physical. It interacts with the body's stress systems, raising cortisol levels, which can heighten anxiety and further stimulate acid release. In older adults, this connection between mind and digestion becomes especially important. The gut and the brain share an intimate pathway, the vagus nerve, so what stirs the mind often stirs the stomach. A restless morning filled with caffeine may wake the body but unsettle the gut. Yet the story of coffee need not end in deprivation. For many, a single, mild cup taken with food causes no harm. The key lies in awareness and moderation. Choosing low-acid blends, brewing methods that reduce bitterness, or simply waiting until after breakfast to drink coffee can make a difference. Substituting every second cup with warm water, chamomile, or ginger tea restores balance without stealing pleasure. Those who experience frequent reflux, heartburn, or stomach pain should discuss their coffee habits with a physician before making changes. What seems like a harmless tradition may require medical attention if symptoms persist. True wellness does not demand the abandonment of life's pleasures, but the wisdom to enjoy them safely. The best mornings are not the ones fueled by caffeine alone, but the ones where both body and mind awaken in calm harmony. Number 7. Citrus fruits and juices. Few foods carry such a double edge as citrus fruits. They shine with color, burst with vitamin C, and promise vitality. Yet for many aging stomachs, that same brightness becomes a burn. What is often praised as the symbol of health can, in truth, be one of the most corrosive triggers for acid reflux and ulcer pain. The paradox is startling. The fruit that defends against colds can quietly injure the very organ that digests it. The danger lies in chemistry. Citrus fruits, especially oranges, lemons, grapefruits, and limes, contain high concentrations of citric and ascorbic acid. In younger bodies, these acids are neutralized by strong protective mucus and efficient stomach function. But in older adults, the stomach's lining grows thinner, its acid regulation weaker. Studies from the American Journal of Gastroenterology have shown that even small servings of citrus juice can lower the pH of the stomach dramatically, intensifying acid reflux within minutes. The result is that familiar burn beneath the breastbone, often mistaken for heart problems. The effects reach beyond temporary pain. Regular consumption of citrus juices on an empty stomach can strip away the mucus barrier, leaving tissues exposed to acid erosion. Over time, this leads to chronic inflammation known as gastritis. In more advanced cases, ulcers develop tiny wounds that bleed, sting, and refuse to heal. Researchers from Johns Hopkins Medicine found that patients who consumed citrus juice daily were 30% more likely to develop gastritis symptoms compared to those who drank water or milk. The danger increases sharply for anyone taking anti-inflammatory drugs or blood thinners. Consider the case of Evelyn Turner, a 66-year-old retired nurse from Arizona. She began each morning with freshly squeezed orange juice, convinced it was the secret to staying young. But the burning grew worse, and soon she could barely enjoy breakfast. Her doctor explained that the vitamin C she sought was damaging her stomach. After replacing citrus with low-acid fruits, ripe bananas, melons, and papayas, her digestion improved dramatically. I learned, she said later, that not all healthy foods are healthy for everyone. The lesson carries weight beyond nutrition. The body changes with time, and wisdom means adjusting with it. Choosing gentler sources of vitamin C, such as kiwi, strawberries, or lightly steamed vegetables, provides the same nourishment without the sting. Diluting citrus juice with water, drinking it only after meals, or limiting intake to occasional enjoyment keeps the stomach calm and strong. If frequent heartburn, bloating, or discomfort follows citrus-based meals, it is essential to consult a physician. What begins as mild irritation may signal deeper damage that requires care. A doctor's guidance ensures balance between nourishment and safety. The story of citrus is a reminder that health is not about extremes but harmony. The sunlit fruit that once symbolized youth remains a gift, just one to be handled with respect. In the later chapters of life, peace in the stomach is worth more than a burst of tang on the tongue. True vitality comes not from acid and intensity, but from gentle, lasting balance. Number 6, carbonated drinks. The first sip always feels like joy. A hiss of bubbles, a sparkle on the tongue, a taste that reminds many of family picnics, drive-in movies, or long summer afternoons. Carbonated drinks are woven into American life, symbols of refreshment and nostalgia. Yet inside the stomach, those cheerful bubbles tell a very different story. When carbonation enters the digestive tract, gas expands, pressing outward on the stomach walls. Studies from the American Gastroenterological Association confirm that this extra pressure forces acid upward into the esophagus, triggering the burning sensation of reflux. With age, the muscles that control digestion lose elasticity, making older adults even more vulnerable. The fizz that feels so light can, in truth, make the stomach feel heavy and tight. A study conducted at the University of California followed adults who consumed two or more carbonated beverages daily. The results showed a 40% increase in chronic reflux symptoms compared with those who rarely drank them. Soda's acidity, especially from phosphoric acid combined with caffeine and sugar, compounds the effect, eroding the protective mucus layer that lines the stomach. Even diet sodas, stripped of sugar, carry artificial sweeteners that upset the balance of gut bacteria and intensify bloating. Margaret Lewis, a 71-year-old retired teacher from Ohio, once believed her daily cola was harmless. She enjoyed one at lunch, another while watching evening television. After years of discomfort, she finally learned that her innocent fizz had been fueling persistent acid reflux. Within a month of switching to still water flavored with cucumber and berries, her symptoms disappeared completely. I thought I loved the bubbles, she told her physician, but I really just wanted something that felt like care. The emotional connection to soda runs deep. For many, it represents energy, youth, or celebration. Yet what the body needs in later life is not stimulation, but steadiness. Hydration should calm, not excite. Replacing carbonated drinks with herbal teas, still water, or diluted fruit juices restores that calm. Warm beverages such as chamomile or ginger tea relax the stomach and help gas escape naturally. If frequent bloating, belching, or burning occurs after drinking soda or sparkling beverages, it is wise to consult a doctor. Sometimes these symptoms are early warnings of chronic reflux or gastritis. The guidance of a physician ensures that healing is safe and tailored to individual needs. True refreshment does not come from the fizz of carbonation, but from balance within. The stomach thrives on peace, on gentle nourishment, not pressure. Choosing calm water over restless bubbles may seem like a small act, yet over time it becomes a quiet revolution in self-care. Number 5, tomato-based foods. The scent of simmering tomato sauce can feel like home. It drifts through kitchens from New York to San Francisco, rich with garlic, basil, and family memories. For many Americans, tomatoes are a symbol of warmth, a plate of spaghetti on Sunday, a slice of pizza after a ball game, a squeeze of ketchup at a backyard barbecue. Yet what nourishes the heart does not always comfort the stomach. Tomatoes are naturally high in citric and malic acids, which give them their bright, tangy flavor. According to research from the American College of Gastroenterology, these acids stimulate the stomach to produce more hydrochloric acid. In a healthy digestive system, this process helps break down food efficiently. But in aging adults, where the stomach lining may already be thinner or inflamed, the extra acid becomes a weapon turned inward. Over time, it can irritate the mucosal barrier, causing pain, burning, and reflux that rise like a tide after every meal. Adding cheese or fat-heavy sauces intensifies the problem. The combination of acid and grease slows digestion, keeping food and stomach acid in contact longer. For those who already suffer from gastritis or ulcers, that classic lasagna or slice of pepperoni pizza can turn a pleasant dinner into a night of discomfort. A study published in the journal Digestive Diseases and Sciences found that people over 60 who consumed tomato-based meals more than 4 times a week were twice as likely to report persistent heartburn. There is a quiet cultural irony here. The Mediterranean diet, often praised for its health benefits, uses tomatoes frequently, but in moderation, balanced with olive oil, vegetables, and small portions. The American habit of pairing tomatoes with processed meats, butter, and refined carbs transforms a healthy ingredient into a source of inflammation. The difference is not the tomato itself, but how and how often it is used. Consider the story of Angela Marino, a 75-year-old grandmother from New Jersey. Every Sunday, she prepared her signature marinara sauce, a family recipe passed down from her mother. As she grew older, she began waking up with a burning sensation in her chest. A doctor advised reducing tomato-heavy meals and adding alkaline vegetables like spinach and zucchini to her dishes. Angela adapted her recipe, blending roasted red peppers and carrots with fewer tomatoes. The results still tasted like home, but this time, her stomach felt at peace. Simple changes can preserve both health and tradition. Using ripe peeled tomatoes reduces acid levels, Cooking sauces slowly allows natural sugars to soften acidity. Mixing in mild vegetables creates balance without losing flavor. For those with chronic reflux, a few tomato-free meals each week gives the stomach time to recover. When heartburn, bloating, or abdominal pain follows tomato-based dishes, it is best to discuss symptoms with a physician. Persistent irritation may signal underlying gastritis or an ulcer that requires treatment. Medical guidance ensures that dietary adjustments are effective and safe. The lesson hidden in the story of tomatoes is not to abandon joy, but to rediscover balance. Food is memory, and memory deserves to be cherished, but never at the cost of well-being. In the end, the true flavor of comfort is found not only in the sauce that fills the kitchen, but in the calm that fills the body after the meal. Number 4. Chocolate. There is something almost sacred about chocolate in American life. It marks birthdays, comfort after heartbreak, quiet evenings by the fireplace. A small piece after dinner feels like kindness to the soul. Yet what soothes the heart can sometimes unsettle the stomach in ways unseen. Chocolate, especially dark varieties, contains two natural stimulants, caffeine and theobromine. Both compounds relax the lower esophageal sphincter, the small valve that keeps stomach acid from flowing upward. When that valve weakens, acid escapes into the esophagus, leading to the burning sensation of reflux. According to research from the Cleveland Clinic, people who regularly consume chocolate report significantly higher rates of heartburn, especially when eaten close to bedtime. The combination of fat, sugar, and stimulants turns a small indulgence into a slow irritant for the digestive system. The chemistry of chocolate is deceptively elegant. Its fats linger in the stomach, slowing digestion, while its sugars trigger acid release. Theobromine, named from Greek roots meaning food of the gods, also stimulates the nervous system, raising heart rate and muscle relaxation throughout the body, including those crucial digestive muscles meant to stay tight. The effect is subtle at first, but repeated night after night, it strains the stomach's delicate balance. For some, the emotional bond with chocolate runs deep. A widow in Florida once told her gastroenterologist that her nightly mug of hot cocoa helped her feel close to her late husband. When reflux began disrupting her sleep, she refused to believe chocolate could be to blame. After gentle persuasion, she switched to a cup of warm oat milk with honey. Within 2 weeks, the burning vanished. "I still miss him," she said softly, "but I sleep peacefully now." Her story is tender proof that comfort doesn't need to come from the same source to remain real. Science offers similar wisdom. A study from Harvard Health Publications found that reducing chocolate intake by just 50% decreased reflux symptoms by more than 1/3 in adults over 65. The reason lies not in abstinence but moderation. A single square of dark chocolate savored slowly after lunch is far safer than a rich brownie eaten late at night. Timing and quantity make all the difference. Chocolate's story reminds us that pleasure and health need not be enemies. The goal is balance. Enough sweetness to nourish joy, but not so much that it unsettles the body. Those who experience frequent heartburn, nausea, or indigestion after sweets should consult a physician to rule out underlying acid reflux or ulcers. Professional guidance helps maintain both digestive health and the ability to enjoy life's small luxuries safely. In the end, chocolate's lesson is one of awareness. The finest pleasures in life, whether love, memory, or taste, shine brightest when taken gently. A calm stomach, like a peaceful mind, finds satisfaction not in excess, but in presence. Number 3, fried and greasy foods. At 70, Linda Moore prided herself on eating well. Her pantry was filled with olive oil, whole grains, and fresh vegetables from the local farmer's market. She walked every morning, drank plenty of water, and rarely indulged in desserts. But every Sunday, she made one exception, a plate of fried chicken, crispy and golden, the way her mother used to make it. "It's my treat," she would say with a smile. Yet week after week, her stomach grew uneasy. The lightness she felt after her morning walks was replaced by heaviness, pressure, and a slow burn beneath her ribs. When her doctor later showed her the endoscopy images, an inflamed, irritated stomach lining, she couldn't believe that something made with love had caused such harm. The truth about fried and greasy foods is that they charm the senses but quietly burden the body. Science has shown that the high levels of saturated and trans fats in fried dishes slow digestion and increase acid production. A study by Johns Hopkins University revealed that people who consume fried foods more than 3 times a week have nearly double the risk of acid reflux and gastritis compared with those who rarely do. The stomach, forced to work harder and longer, becomes a battlefield of acid and fat, a slow, silent exhaustion hidden behind familiar comfort. Oil, especially when reheated, transforms into something toxic. Once heated past its smoke point, it produces compounds called aldehydes, which can damage the lining of the digestive tract. The National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences has linked these substances to chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. For older adults whose stomach walls are thinner and more vulnerable, each serving of fried food adds one more layer of irritation, one more delay in healing. Fried foods don't just upset digestion, they change the body's rhythm. They make the stomach heavy, the mind sluggish, and the heart work harder. The body's natural flow slows under the weight of fat that refuses to leave. It's not just about reflux or ulcers, it's about energy, vitality, and how the body feels after the pleasure fades. Linda's story found a gentler ending. With her doctor's help, she began baking her Sunday chicken using an air fryer, seasoning it with rosemary and paprika instead of deep oil. The crunch remained, but the burn was gone. Within a month, she felt lighter, slept better, and rediscovered what comfort truly meant. I realized, she said, it wasn't the frying that I loved, it was the memory. Those who experience bloating, pain, or heartburn after greasy meals should seek medical advice rather than rely on home remedies. Sometimes, what feels like simple indigestion is a warning sign of gastritis or an ulcer. With a doctor's guidance, small adjustments using olive oil, avoiding reheated fats, eating smaller portions can transform digestion completely. The story of fried food is a story of contrast, pleasure and pain, memory and consequence. It reminds that health does not ask us to abandon tradition, but to adapt it. The flavor of life is not lost in moderation. It simply becomes lighter, more peaceful, and infinitely kinder to the stomach that has carried us through so many meals. Number 2, processed meats. At first glance, a slice of bacon sizzling in the pan or a neatly stacked deli sandwich seems harmless, even inviting. The smell fills the kitchen, the taste feels familiar, the memory feels comforting. Yet beneath that comfort lies one of the most dangerous choices for the aging stomach-processed meats, the silent architects of inflammation. A generation ago, these foods were symbols of convenience and prosperity. Lunch meats, sausages, hot dogs, and cured ham became staples of the American table. But science has since revealed a darker reality. The World Health Organization classifies processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens, meaning there is clear evidence they contribute to cancer, especially in the digestive tract. These meats are preserved with nitrates and nitrites, which, once inside the stomach, convert into nitrosamines compounds known to damage the mucosal lining and increase acid secretion. For an older digestive system already struggling to maintain balance, the effect is like pouring salt on an open wound. A major study from Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health followed more than 120,000 adults over 20 years. It found that individuals who consumed processed meats daily had a 42% higher risk of stomach cancer than those who ate them rarely. The reasons go beyond the chemicals alone. These foods are also loaded with sodium and saturated fat, both of which impair blood flow to the stomach lining and slow healing from existing ulcers. The inflammation they trigger is not a momentary irritation, but a persistent, corrosive cycle that erodes the body's natural defenses. Consider the case of Thomas Gray, a 69-year-old retired firefighter from Michigan. After decades of eating breakfast sandwiches and deli subs, he began to experience relentless heartburn and fatigue. His doctor discovered early-stage gastritis. When Thomas replaced his morning bacon with oatmeal and fruit, and switched his lunch to grilled chicken and vegetables, his energy returned and the burning stopped. I thought it was age catching up to me, he said later, but it was the food I trusted most. Processed meats also interfere with the gut's microbiome, the complex community of bacteria that supports digestion and immunity. Excess sodium and preservatives suppress beneficial bacteria while feeding the harmful ones, leading to bloating, gas, and chronic inflammation. For many older adults, this imbalance explains why they feel sluggish or heavy even after small meals. Yet the path to healing is simple and hopeful. Replacing processed meats with lean proteins, fresh poultry, fish, beans, or tofu helps restore gut health and reduce acid irritation. For those who enjoy the smoky flavor, using natural spices like paprika or liquid smoke can recreate the taste without the harm. Hydration, fiber-rich foods, and mindful chewing further support the stomach's ability to repair itself. Medical experts urge that anyone with persistent indigestion, unexplained weight loss, or dark stools seek immediate medical evaluation. Such symptoms could indicate deeper damage that requires treatment. A physician's guidance ensures that dietary changes align with overall health goals. The story of processed meats is ultimately a story of evolution, of learning that what once symbolized ease and abundance may no longer serve the body's wisdom. The stomach, faithful and enduring, asks for nourishment that builds, not breaks. The truest strength lies in letting go of habits that harm and embracing foods that allow each meal to become an act of renewal, not regret. Finally, alcohol. Late one evening in Denver, Robert Hayes, a retired truck driver of 68, sat in the emergency room clutching his abdomen. For months, he had ignored the gnawing pain that came after his nightly glass of whiskey. He told the nurses it helped him sleep, that one drink couldn't possibly do harm. When the test results arrived, the truth struck hard. A bleeding gastric ulcer. The alcohol he thought was calming his nerves had been quietly dissolving the very tissue that protected his stomach. Robert's story is far from rare. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, roughly 60% of adults over 50 in the United States consume alcohol weekly, often under the belief that a little is good for the heart. While moderate drinking has been associated with certain cardiovascular benefits, the digestive system tells another story. Ethanol, the active ingredient in alcoholic beverages, is a powerful irritant. It weakens the stomach's protective mucus layer and increases the secretion of acid, setting the stage for inflammation and bleeding. When combined with common medications, especially aspirin or ibuprofen, the danger multiplies. Scientific studies from the Mayo Clinic have shown that even modest but regular alcohol intake can slow the healing of stomach ulcers and heighten sensitivity to acid. The body loses its ability to repair the tiny injuries that naturally occur during digestion. In older adults, where blood flow to the stomach lining is reduced, recovery slows further. What begins as mild discomfort after a drink can progress to gastritis, internal bleeding, or in severe cases, perforation of the stomach wall. Beyond the physical damage, alcohol masks pain. The initial warmth that spreads through the chest feels soothing, but this comfort is deceptive. The brain's perception of relaxation is temporary, while the stomach's irritation is real and lasting. Over time, the disconnect between pleasure and harm deepens, trapping many in a cycle of false relief and silent injury. One clinical review in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition revealed that individuals who consume more than 2 alcoholic drinks daily are nearly 3 times more likely to develop peptic ulcers than those who abstain. The risk increases sharply when alcohol is consumed on an empty stomach, a habit common among those who use it as a sleep aid. The stomach, lacking food as a buffer, absorbs the full corrosive force of ethanol. There is hope, however, in awareness and moderation. For those who enjoy an occasional drink, pairing alcohol with food and plenty of water can reduce harm. Choosing lower alcohol beverages, such as diluted wine spritzers or alcohol-free alternatives, protects the stomach's lining. The greater victory lies in rethinking the purpose of that nightly drink. If the goal is rest, a warm herbal tea or short evening walk achieves it without risk. Medical professionals urge that anyone who experiences burning pain, nausea, or dark stools after drinking should seek immediate evaluation. Bleeding ulcers are treatable when detected early, but can become life-threatening if ignored. Consultation with a doctor is essential, especially for those taking regular pain medication or blood thinners. Robert Hayes now drinks chamomile tea before bed. His ulcer has healed, and his nights are peaceful once again. "I thought I needed whiskey to relax," he once said. But it turns out peace doesn't come from a bottle, it comes from listening. The lesson is clear. The body speaks softly before it shouts. Listening early is the most powerful form of self-care. Life has a way of teaching us that what seems comforting on the surface can sometimes harm us quietly inside. The stories about mint tea, spicy foods, coffee, citrus fruits, soda, tomatoes, chocolate, fried meals, processed meats, and alcohol are not just about food. They are about the delicate balance between pleasure and health, memory and reality, habit and wisdom. Each of these familiar things carries both joy and risk, and as we age, the body asks us to pay closer attention. The aging stomach, like an old friend, becomes more sensitive, more honest. It can no longer hide the strain of choices that once felt harmless. The burning after dinner, the heaviness at night, the discomfort in silence, these are the body's ways of asking us to listen. What unites all these lessons is not fear but awareness. Awareness that even small choices, swapping peppermint for chamomile, seasoning with herbs instead of chili, reducing coffee to one gentle cup, or replacing soda with water, can create relief that feels like freedom. These are not sacrifices, but adjustments that honor the body's changing needs. Just as we adapt to new roles in life, new responsibilities, and new ways of thinking as we grow older, so too must we adapt to new ways of eating and caring for ourselves. The stomach, often called the second brain, reflects more than digestion. It reflects how we live, how we handle stress, and how we treat ourselves day to day. Protecting it is not about restriction, but about self-respect. There is also a deeper message here. Healing begins with listening. Many of the stories you just heard show people discovering that their suffering wasn't inevitable. It was a signal. A retired librarian found peace after letting go of mint tea. A man who had lived with spicy food for decades found joy in gentler flavors. A grandmother rediscovered tradition without losing her health. A truck driver learned that true rest did not come from alcohol, but from quiet self-care. Each of them chose awareness over denial, adjustment over stubbornness, wisdom over habit. And in that choice, they found not only relief, but a new kind of strength. So the core lesson is this. Health in our later years is not about giving things up, but about giving ourselves a chance to thrive. It's about noticing how the body speaks, honoring its needs, and choosing balance. Pleasure is still possible. Memories are still cherished. Flavors are still rich, but they can all be enjoyed in ways that nourish rather than harm. Every small choice to listen, to adjust, to care is an act of love toward the body that has carried us this far. And when we practice that love, we discover that peace in the stomach brings peace in the heart and mind as well. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it valuable, please share it so others can benefit too. And if this is your first time visiting our channel, or if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button today so you don't miss the next video. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories, your reflections, so leave a comment below and join the conversation. Wishing you health, peace, and joy in this precious stage of life.